not every solution is correct for every part of the world.
Sure.
Not every solution is correct for every culture. Cultures have very different elements.
That's right.
To their existence, and so I think what you're doing and what the CLI is doing is you are creating leadership within the Congolese who understand the nuances of that culture and can bring those strengths and talents to the modern day DRC.
Sure, no, that's absolutely the case. I think that the way that we describe it is that we've built the stage, and on that stage this play is being acted out. I think too much development work is choreographing the play.
But no, and I think this is an issue, a question that I've asked you and we've discussed before. This issue that people who look at Caucasians coming from whether it's Europe or America or North America, coming to Africa, with primarily good intentions, are saying that really this is just a form of neo-colonialism. So how do we, and to me it seems fundamentally different to the colonialism that took place hundreds of years ago.
Sure.
But there's a perception. So how does that perception get best addressed?
Right.
Or misperception, I should say.
Sure. So as it pertains to CLI and the things that we do, the proof is in the pudding, right? And actions speak much louder than words. And I could sit here and talk all day long about allowing decision making to happen at a local level and allowing young leaders to create their own solutions. But that doesn't mean anything except that we actually do that. And if you look at the way that we go through our process of educating young leaders, it is totally community driven. Yeah. I will say that I was not as knowledgeable about this when I first went to Congo. I was 20 years old, and I think that my worldview was shaped by this element of neocolonialism. There's something very powerful in a negative way about colonialism that still exists today, whether or not it's nation states and other nation states. It's this matter of dependency, and when you have colonialism, you certainly have power and control where it shouldn't be, but I think that what might still be lingering in many places, many parts of the world, is this sense of dependency of solutions coming from the outside. And we need to think very carefully about how we foster and facilitate solutions from within places like Congo. I will not even pretend that we always make the right decision, but I can say that we're always cognizant of it, and when we do make a mistake, we can correct it. I think I'll give you an example. When we first built the curriculum, we did so in the wrong way because it was built in the United States. Yeah. And we tested it. We learned very quickly how we should alter it, how we should spread it out over an entire year instead of just within 5 days. But that wasn't something we knew, and it's not really something that we ever could know sitting at our desks.
Right. So there's a large part of the program is trial and error.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And measurement.
And measurement. Okay. But to go to the issue of measurement and to go to one of the other programs, I see you have been very successful with the CLI in the 300 program. So could you tell the viewers a little bit about what the 300 program is and the success you've achieved with that?
Well, this is actually something I was going to mention to you today, and I haven't yet, but we did successfully complete the 300 program. From 2010 through the end of 2013, I shouldn't say that, through about August of 2013, we trained 300 young leaders as we were ramping up expansion, as we were learning about the program and learning how to do it better and better. We set a goal to, by the end of January 2014, train another 300 leaders to get to 600. And I'm happy to let you know that we were able to do so. We now have trained over 600 young people in Congo.
So it's 600 now?
It's now 600, and we plan to double that again. Thank you. And certainly we appreciate support from many of our donors and supporters, and we've been able to grow based on their generosity and also based on the interest in this training that young people in Congo exhibit. There's no shortage of demand, there's no shortage of impetus and initiative and excitement around leadership and entrepreneurship by these young people.
So why do you think, and I know that the perception of Africa as a war-torn land has changed. Things have gotten better. There is, however, reporting of certain pockets in sub-Saharan Africa, the eastern DRC being one, parts of Mali where they've got some Islamist extremist But overall, if you look at where sub-Saharan Africa is compared to 20 years ago, it's a much more stable part of the world with governments that are consistent, a legal system that seems more transparent and fair, and an economy that has been growing actually over the last 5 years at 6 to 10%.
Sure.
And large multinationals are now looking at Africa as one of the economic futures.
In a consumer market for the first time.
Correct, that's right. And so the Congo Leadership Initiative, to me, it seems to be creating people who potentially could be the leaders of this economic renaissance that's predicted to occur in Africa.
That certainly is a tie that we could make. Again, I think that's a great example of where some of the young people we work with are very interested in the economy, and they seek to practice their leadership in that field. If they do, we believe that we're equipping them with skills that they can do so in a servant leadership manner, just like we do for the young leaders we train who want to be doctors.
Yeah.
For me personally, I like economics. I like thinking about the African economy, and so that is one of the things that I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to these young leaders to decide how it is they want to practice the leadership that we train.
Well, Nate, it seems an incredible thing that you've done with the CLI.
Thank you.
And I know that you're going to be going off to Harvard. Is it later this year or?
It will, August of this year.
August to do an MBA, which is great. And if I could just ask you, the knowledge and the skills that you're going to obtain through the MBA, I'm sure that those will be invaluable in applying to the continued development of these types of programs in sub-Saharan Africa.
I certainly think so. I think Harvard Business School at its core is a leadership school.
Yeah.
And the reason that many people go there, including me, is to polish some of these skills in leadership and to learn a little bit more about how organizations work, how to lead people.
Yeah.
I hope to provide a link, maybe for one of the first times, between a place like HBS and Congo. And that's a role that I see myself uniquely filling. But at the same time, I'm even more excited that this is going to allow us to bring on the co-founder I never had, and some people who are frankly much more talented than me in this field, and will be able to grow organizations. But I think that they'll be able to grow the organization in ways that I can't, and together we'll be able to make something that's even bigger than it is now.
All right. Well, Nate, listen, I'd like to thank you for coming on, and congratulations
Appreciate
with
it.
your work.
Thanks.
Thank you. And this is the end of 9, and I'd like to thank Nathaniel Houghton for joining the show.